welcome. This is our special edition. Today we are here in Arbaminch city, in a beautiful city of the southern Ethiopian region, and the 19th Nationalities and Peoples Day was celebrated where higher officials of the federal and regional states take place in the celebration, including Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed. Today here with me is Dr. Gamachu Arasa. Dr. Gamachu Arasa has a long experience. I will have a discussion with him. Stay tuned. Thank you, Doctor. You participated in this 19th Nationalities and Peoples Day here in Arbaminch city. And how did you get the overall atmosphere? Please briefly incite us.
Thank you very much. And of course, we have been celebrating Ethiopian Nations, Nationalities and Peoples Day, the 19th holiday of the nations and nationalities of Ethiopia, here in South regional states at Arbaminch. And the last 2 days, particularly, we had a panel discussion, and a very attractive and insightful panel discussion on federal system, and as well as on the potentials of investment potentials and the tourist destination of South regional state and other several issues. And yesterday we had a grand festival celebration in the presence of our esteemed Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed, and other government officials, including the Speaker of the House of Federation and the House of People's Representatives, and other regional officials. And it was so wonderful. And as you know, this day, Ethiopian Nations, Nationalities and Peoples Day, is celebrated to commemorate the endorsement of the Constitution of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, which was endorsed in 1987, and it has its own historical memory, of course, because we are living in a country where there are diverse nations and nationalities, multicultural and multilingual country, and we do have one strong ancient nation, which we believe is even the cradle of human being, and one of the ancient civilizations. So on this occasion, our people, including the officials and other representatives of the community from different corners of the country, have been gathered here at Arbaminch to celebrate the festival. And it was so beautiful because Arbaminch, and particularly the South regional state, is one of the newly emerging states which was established after the transition. So it is the outcome of the leadership of the Prosperity Party. So that's what makes the event very special, and it's one of the most beautiful cities that we have, and as a region with huge potential, both in terms of investment and in terms of tourist attraction and tourism destination. So we had a very wonderful time with our officials and the community elders and different group of the society here. Actually, from the panel discussion, we have got a lot of insights on the federal system, how it functions, and why it is important for nations and nationalities like Ethiopia, where we have diverse language and cultures. And the festival that we had yesterday, it showed us how much beautiful our cultures are. I mean, the cultures, the norms, the values, and a lot of beautiful diversities that we have seen yesterday. So we had a very wonderful time and very historical actually, and this should be strengthened. And the nation's nationalities and peoples' day should be celebrated in such a way that it can demonstrate our unity, our diversity, and the potential of this nation. So that is a very wonderful event for all of us.
Yeah, and as you know, Ethiopia is home of diversity, and some few individuals say this diversity is antagonistic to the unity of the country. And how do you see this claim?
I think that's a wrong argument, because diversity is a reality that we should accept everywhere, even in the family, even in a single institution, in a small social group or community. We do have diversity. Even gender by itself, being male and female, is a diversity. Being black and white is a diversity. Being an engineer and an economist is a professional diversity. So diversity is a reality that we have to accept and adore, actually. And second, Ethiopia is a diverse nation, and this diverse nation, and of course there are countries in this world which are more diverse than Ethiopia. Probably there are countries that have hundreds of ethnic groups, like Nigeria, like India, and if you take India, for instance, they do have hundreds of ethnic groups in a single nation, and it's one of the strongest democratic country in the world. So diversity is not something antagonistic to democracy or antagonistic to national unity. It is the political system and the governance that may strengthen or that may weaken the unity of a country. Here we do have the federal system. It's not, of course, it's not ethnic-based federalism. That's one of the wrong perceptions that we hear usually, is that people may think that either intentionally or unintentionally, they think that Ethiopia is an ethnic-based federalism. Our constitution does not say like that. Our federal system is based on culture, based on identity, and based on geography and others. If you take one of the regional states, like Oromia, for instance, we do have probably millions of population from other regions and dozens of ethnic groups. And here in South Ethiopia, we do have over 32 ethnic groups, nations, and nationalities in a single region. So even in one region, in one district, one Warada and Kabale, in a small locality, even we do have diverse population. This is a reality. Not only the reality, the beauty that we have to accept and live together. So federal system is one of the political, and of course, federalism is not the only political system in the world. There are diverse political systems. One of the political systems that we may have is a unitary system that we tried for a very long time, but that did not work, and actually that probably contributed to the chaos and the sort of vicious circle of conflict that we are having today. So we are having federal system over the last probably since 1987, since the endorsement of our constitution. And the way federalism was practiced during the time of EPRDF was not appropriate, because the focus was on diversity rather than on unity. And the ruling party, particularly the TPLF, the one that had hegemonic power in the coalition, had its own interest, why it wanted to weaken the unity and overemphasizing on the diversity and the differences of the people, nations, nationalities of our people. So what's wrong is not the system. What's wrong is the way the federal system was implemented. For the last 6 years, we are having a genuine federal system and an inclusive political system. those nations and nationalities and political parties which have been pushed aside, were included in the political party, the Prosperity Party, and even the economic, the distribution of resource by itself. Development was not as such fair, and there was a concentration of resource, concentration of developmental projects in very few regions, particularly in the northern part of Ethiopia. Now we are having fair distribution of development. I'm not saying that everything is perfect. We don't have any problem with our democratic system. We don't have that. That's not the case.
Sure.
But we are on the right way. We have a very clear paradigm and a very clear political thought, initiated by our Prime Minister. That is the philosophy and the idea of Medemer. Is based on that. We are building our nation. We are building both the nation and the state building and nation building, and building the common values, common norms, and among our people. So what we have to focus on is federalism is the only panacea for our diversity. That's only we can't have unitary system because we have already tried it and we failed. This is the only political system that can heal the problem of our political problem. But the federal system should be democratized. It should be genuine. It should be genuine in the sense that our nations and nationalities should have a genuine self-rule, and they should have representation in the common rule, in the federal institutions, both in the civilian and the armed. It could be in military or in the security apparatus, and particularly in the bureaucracy. Fair representation of nations and nationalities should be there. So that's what is going on. That's why I'm saying that we are having genuine federal system and democratization, opening up of the political space, even for opposition parties, which have been struggling using through armed struggle, are coming back to a political platform, and some of them are even they are given power, political power. They are one of the decision makers. They are member of the cabinet of the federal government. So it is through this genuine federalism, practice of federalism and democratization, that we can further adore our diversity and strengthen the unity of our nations, nationalities, and through which we can build our nation and our state of Ethiopia.
The current government, the Prosperity Party, didn't do what the previous system did. How do you see this?
That the previous political systems, whether the imperial or the military regime, and even EPRDF to some extent, the way they architected or designed the political system is the way in which it serves the interest of the ruling group, and particularly the interest of some of the leaders, some oligarchy group, either the political interest or particularly the economic interest of the one who had the power. And that is why the interest and the demands of our people, were not addressed properly, and that's why we are not able to have a sustainable nation building and the state building. The ruling party, the previous ruling party, when a new ruling party or leadership comes into power, it demolished everything that had been done by the previous regime, by this predecessor, and starts everything from scratch, the political system, the economic system, and things like that. Because we do not have common thoughts, we do not have common roadmap, and because it largely depends on the interests of the ruling party. The practice that even during EPRDF, the intention, particularly what have been stated in the constitution and other written documents, and the practice on the ground were quite different, and we don't have that much problem with the provisions of our constitution. Everything is okay there, but the practice on the ground was quite different. Just focusing on the interests of the hegemonic ruling party, TPLF. Now, over the last 6 years, the difference is that one is for the first time that we had smooth and
peaceful transition,
violent and peaceful transition from one political system to another political system. And the other one is we do have a very clear political paradigm, political philosophy that is Medemer, which was initiated by our.
That is the only peaceful transition in the history of the country, right?
Of this nation. Yeah. Exactly, the only peaceful transition, and probably the only time where we practiced reform as well. We had revolutions and violent means of transitions over the last several years. One is a peaceful transition. Second, we do have a clear roadmap, a clear philosophy or a clear paradigm within which we have to think about our economic problems, our political problems, our social problems, and how to rectify or how to fix the problems. That
even indigenous, as you have said, Medemer.
Yeah. Very much indigenous ideology. So that is one of the difference. And the other is the genuine leadership that we are having. Look, and as everybody knows, and our current Prime Minister, who actually was a military official, and he loves his country a lot. And so the political leadership, the commitment of the political leadership, the genuine affection between the people and the leadership is another divergence, actually. And the earlier leaders, we know that they focus on their own. Second is the legitimacy that the people accords to their leaders is very important. As you know, as of the time of transition, the people of Ethiopia, majority of the people, they accepted, they follow their leader, the Prime Minister, Dr. Abiy Ahmed. So legitimacy from the side of the people is another departure. And the nations and the nationalities had their own demands, particularly here in the south, and developing their identity, their language, their culture and norms, having fair representation in the federal institution and self-rule by itself was a very serious demand. And some of these questions and demands of the people, not only the south and other parts of Ethiopia, have been addressed. And the economic development that we had over the last 6 years, amidst the conflicts from within and outside, a lot of huge projects, including the Grand Renaissance Ethiopian Dam and other huge projects like the Koisha and a lot of projects which are underway, and new projects probably that we may not have adequate information. So this development, the economic development is also very much promising, and the people are also benefiting from that. All the youth, the women, and all group of the society.
There are a number of homegrown initiatives, including the green legacy, the wheat production.
Sure, a lot of initiatives in Oromia and throughout the nation. And the economic, the homegrown economic reform, the previous one, the first economic reform, and particularly the landsliding reform that we are having today, and is another blessing, contribution of this transition. So there are a lot of changes. There are still things that remain and need to be addressed for political and economic. I'm not saying that everything is sufficient and all the demands of our people have been addressed. That's not the case. But if we accept our diversity, and particularly if we are able to build peace everywhere, so the remaining demands of our people will be gradually addressed, and so we have to focus on our national dialogue to reconcile, to come together to discuss on our differences and strengthening our commonalities, what we have in common. We do have a lot of things in common because we established this nation commonly. The sovereignty of this country have been maintained so far through the contribution of each and every nation's nationalities and people of Ethiopia, and a lot of beautiful commonalities that we have. The Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam is our common legacy and common property. Ethiopia by itself is our common nation. So that, of course, in a diverse nation like Ethiopia, it's very common and natural to have differences. So we can bridge our differences through negotiation. So the national dialogue, which is underway, is a golden opportunity to come together and discuss on our differences and reconcile, and further issues could be addressed through political process that we'll be having in the future. So peace is the most important. Accepting diversity is the most important thing, and the unity of our country is the most important that everybody should focus on.
And finally, how do you see the Prime Minister's speech? He called for his speech in Amharic yesterday. He called for peace. He called for development, for prosperity to this nation. And how do you see the speech of the Prime Minister?
Yeah, the speech of the Prime Minister was very much impressive. Really, even his presence here at Arbaminch was very, very special, and all the people which were gathered there, they gave a very warm welcome to the Prime Minister, and the way our Prime Minister addressed the people gathered there, and the way he expressed South regional state and Arbaminch city and the progress that we have over the last 6 years was very, very insightful. And actually he expressed Arbaminch in a very beautiful manner. The natural endowments here, the attractiveness, the beauty, the potential of the regional state as well as Arbaminch, and he particularly focused on the peaceful coexistence of diverse nations and nationalities here in South regional state. And the reason why actually the Ethiopian nations, nationalities and peoples day was celebrated here in South Nation is because of the peace that we have here, and the Prime Minister also acknowledged this, and he called up on he also declared the agreement between the Oromo Liberation Front and the government of Oromia National Regional State, and of course he reminded that he declared the Pretoria Agreement from the same city. That was really historical, and at the same time he officially declared and acknowledged actually the agreement between the armed group from Oromia and the Oromia Regional and National State, and he called up on other armed groups both in Oromia and other regional states and in every part of Ethiopia to come back to the discussion table to resolve the differences, the political differences that we have through a peaceful dialogue. Because for a very long time we had conflicts, war like this, and violence, armed conflicts, but we are not able to resolve our difference. We tried it for probably for centuries. So we are living in a very civilized world, and our politics should also be civilized. So it's only through political dialogue and peaceful discussion that we can address our differences. So that is the remark of our Prime Minister, and hopefully the armed groups and other political groups which may have disagreements or differences or some sort of dissenters may hopefully come to the discussion table. So we do have national dialogue which is underway, and I think that that's a golden opportunity that everybody, every political entity, every citizen should accept, should contribute its share toward the success of this national dialogue. So the speech of our Prime Minister and the President of the regional state of the South Ethiopia regional state was very astonishing and very insightful. So in general, we had a very wonderful time here at Arba Minch, celebrating the Ethiopian nations, nationalities, and peoples day.
Dr. Gammachuu Araarsaa, Chairperson of the Standing Committee at Caffee Oromia, thank you very much for your insight and for your time as well. Dear viewers of OBN Horn of Africa, that's all about our discussion with Dr. Gammachuu Araarsaa, Chairperson of the Standing Committee at Caffee Oromia. And this is all about our discussion for this edition. Until next edition, goodbye.